Well, first of all, I appreciate you
Yeah,
doing this and
of
coming on.
course.
Um, I guess
Um,
I guess my first question is I asked everybody this so far.
mhm,
Been here for 2 days. Crazy city.
it's
It
crazy.
does feel very small, like we were talking about before. It's like everybody kind of is connected.
Hmm.
How do you do it though?
I mean, I've always wanted to move to Nashville. Like, I visited first when I was in high school, and I'm from a really small
Because you did an
town.
EP here when you were like
I
14 or
did an
something,
EP
right?
when I was
Yeah, yeah,
14. I was like blown away by the musicians
yeah,
and the artists, and I was like, it's just a whole, it just blew my
yeah.
mind. And I visited again when I was 16, recorded another EP. I think I recorded another EP when I was 18, or maybe when I was 20, but I
Yeah,
kept visiting.
yeah,
And I just realized, especially when I moved here, that like it's a big city, but it's like a small town.
yeah.
Like everyone knows each other. You run into the same people all
I
the
know that's what.
time,
Yeah,
and that's so fun. Like we were just talking about
yeah,
that. I mean, you just mentioned a bunch of artists that I know, and it's that's what I love about Nashville. I feel like it'd be different from like LA or any other city like
hmm,
that. It feels like home,
yeah.
very home vibes.
When you were kind of looking at a spot from, I want to talk about Washington a bit, but
Yeah,
you were looking to like relocate. Was there any other cities you're kind of at, or was it always like I want to go to Nashville
it
because this is
was
the spot
it
you like?
was Nashville.
Yeah.
It was always Nashville. Yeah.
Is there something about it like you just
I think it's just it's very pretty. I love how friendly people
yeah,
are. I love that like if you want to go out, there's always something to do.
hmm,
There's Broadway, there's Midtown.
yeah,
I live in Hendersonville, which is like is really cool. It's a really cool
yeah,
town, and they have like cool parks, and
yeah,
it just feels very safe and at home.
yeah? That's kind of what I want to go on a run after this and experience a little
Yeah,
bit. So let's start. You did an EP. Like you got into music like 12, right?
yeah. I started playing guitar when I was 11,
Okay.
and then writing when I was 12.
So how'd you get into music? Was it
Yeah, my mom taught me how to play guitar.
okay?
And then I was like, and I loved Hannah Montana. Hannah
Yeah,
Montana is like my favorite
I
show.
love that. Yeah, I
I
used
was
to watch
actually,
that. I watched all
yeah,
those the Disney stuff back in the day. That was the best.
yeah, I was obsessed. Like
Yeah,
I was obsessed with it. And then Taylor Swift comes on, and of course I'm obsessed with Taylor Swift.
yeah,
And I had Hannah Montana posters like all over my room. I would screenshot the
yeah.
TV, or I would take pictures of the TV of her
What's the
episodes, and
song
then
to ride? That's like that's our. It's like always gonna be another mountain. Now I always remember that
oh, the
song.
climb.
Yeah, the climb, the
The
climb. Yeah,
climb.
that's
I
what that.
love the
Yeah,
climb. I did that at a talent show actually
really.
once.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I was really inspired by them. And then my dad would sing me country songs when I was little too. Garth Brooks,
Yeah,
John Denver. And so he really inspired me in that way. We listened to a lot of like Blake Shelton, like
yeah,
Old Red, like driving around before baseball practice and stuff like that. And so I just like naturally loved country music, and I
mm,
wanted to sing country music. And then luckily my mom took guitar lessons when I was like 10. She taught me when I was 11. And
yeah.
then I started playing like talent shows at school when I was 12,
And
around
then
12. Yeah.
well, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then so like what kind of made you so at 14 releasing like a whole EP is pretty I mean it's a lot.
Yeah.
So like what kind of inspired you to do that? And
Mhm.
then from coming from Washington here to do that, it's a
Yeah.
hefty hike.
Well, I wanted to move to Nashville when I was in elementary school,
Okay.
and my parents, of course, were like,
Yeah.
"We can't move to
Yeah.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Like
Mhm.
our whole life's at home." So I just would kind of beg them, and then when I started like getting into music, like they knew like
Yeah.
we need to go to Nashville to record. Like I think
Mhm.
they knew that was my dream.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's cool. So so you go to college then, right? Because
Mhm.
so what was kind of because some people they just come here straight from there. You decided to go to college. What kind of was sparked that or made you want to go?
Yeah, I just like my parents thought it would be like the best idea would be to like first go to college and then move to Nashville and
Hmm.
then pursue the dream. So I did go to college. I went to Central Washington University.
Yeah.
Go Wildcats. Um, and I went there. So I went to community college for 2 years back
Okay.
home, and then
Yeah.
I went another 2 years to a university, and it was like the best experience ever. I
Hmm.
wouldn't trade
It's
college
like a
for.
small D3. Was it like a small D3
It was
story?
it was small. I don't know what it
I went to
was.
school at 1500, so that's why I'm at.
Okay, it was. I
So
think it was about
okay,
11,000.
yeah.
So and
Oh yeah,
I
mine. So
dang, I
now
didn't know yours was that small.
yeah, it was like when I
Oh my
started, it was like
gosh.
when I came there, it was like 3,000. But with COVID, a lot of
Yeah.
people they were like, "Oh, I'll just go to Ohio State because right next there." Because I know it's like easy because they couldn't tour,
Yeah.
and they're like, "I'm not gonna, if I can't tour some D3 school. The whole point is to get to know people and professors, So,
Right. No,
that I was hurt a lot of schools.
Yeah, I was the same way though. Like I looked at like University of Washington, Washington State University, and I was like, I really want to go to a school where I can like make meaningful friendships and like get to know my professors and like be able to talk to them. And my parents actually went to Central Washington University too for a couple years. They went to Washington State University after that.
The Cougs,
But yeah, go Cougs. And so I wanted to, I was actually gonna, after I got my associates, my plan was to move to Nashville, but then I was like, you know what? I just really want the college experience.
Yeah.
And I worked at music really hard throughout like middle school, high school, all that I was like, I just really want like this experience.
Yeah.
And I think like me having that has played such a role in my life and the songs that I write. It's college is like one of the best things. I'm so happy that I like went to that school and had those experiences. And again, like I was a great student. Like I loved getting good grades and like studying.
What did you study?
I studied public relations and minored in business.
I did public relations, so
yeah. And I really just, you learn a lot. I mean, like nonverbal communication, that was like one of my favorite classes. Like the way that people, like you can judge somebody by when they walk into a room, which don't judge a book by its cover, but you can and like tell a lot about somebody by their body language and all that. But anyways, I just really like found college fascinating, and like I lived right kind of by like the bars. So I just remember like it would be like a Wednesday and my friends would be like, let's go out, and I'm like, perfect, I'll meet you there in like 2 minutes.
That's awesome. That's like the whole dream. You get to like, we'd always do karaoke on Wednesdays. That was the thing. I'd always do Billy Joel. We go to this Dollar Wells, you can't beat that stuff back then.
We had dollar beer night.
Thursday
nights.
So that was the night. That was nice to be on the town. We have like, because we're like weird, Ohio State, like there's really not a lot of like cheap options other than this one place. It's like Dollar Well. So we would go there, and we'd always try to. They'd give us like these little like Dixie cups, and we would always start here. and We try to stack them up to the ceiling bar. We never have done it, but one time we got to like right here.
My gosh!
But then the bouncer was like, "You guys got it." And I was like, "Yeah, probably. We should probably leave."
Yeah.
But
that's awesome though. That's always so much fun.
Yeah. So I wasn't gonna ask about public relations, but so. I feel like nowadays, especially artists, very much can use social media to build a platform, especially with their music. Versus like you couldn't do that like 10, 15 years ago, right? It's a lot different.
Oh yeah.
How do you kind of use that kind of stuff? Because I feel like, especially like how do you use that? I guess you know what I mean.
Well, I know like so my job actually that I do every day is social media. I work for a company and I take on clients through them, and then I have some of my own clients in town, and I'm so thankful for that job because it allows the flexibility of me to like pursue music and also make some money from doing that job. And so I know like firsthand how important social media is for businesses these days. It's like you need it in order to reach like a mass amount of people, and I think when TikTok came along and Reels and YouTube Shorts and all that, it's huge. And I just think like if you're an artist, you need to use the social media platforms to your advantage and try to reach more people. I mean, in the olden days, like you had to come to Nashville to like try to be discovered. Now it's like you can post and then hopefully it'll reach a good amount of people, and then you'll get more followers and like so. I try to post every day. And I've been doing that for like 2 years now, just constantly like TikTok. I need to do better on YouTube Shorts, but YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels.
I struggle with the consistency of that. How do you kind of like...
What I do is like I have it in my mind at this point where I'm like, if I don't post once every day, or like maybe I'll skip a day, but then I'll like have, you know what I mean? Like every once in a while, like I'll have like a really busy day and I won't post. But for the most part, like I'm like, if I don't post today, I haven't done something for my music today. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
It's also, I feel like, very hard because people's attention spans are so short.
Exactly.
So how do you kind of like maximize? Because like people don't like the first 5 seconds of video. They'll just go, it's crazy.
No, I know. That's what's hard is like trying to build like genuine fans who are interested in like seeing your stuff. So I think like for one, I think it's becoming your niche. And like having people like actually like fall in love with who you are versus like falling in love with your music. Like I differentiate the two. Like who I am and my music are different. Like if you don't like me, it doesn't mean you don't like my music. But if you don't like my music, that doesn't mean you don't like me. I don't know. Like I think trying to be authentic and like genuine people can tell, and like online and stuff like that. And trying to pull them in. I guess in like the first few seconds of like a reel, like trying to rope them in at somehow with something like a good hook. But you know, with posting so much, sometimes it's like keeping up with the consistency. It's not always like the best quality video, but it's something that's like, this is me, and just here's me cooking in the
people
kitchen.
They like the authenticity of it. Like people like something simple. They like to see what you do, and like that's very important.
Here's me taking a walk. I don't know. Like
get ready with me today.
Get ready with me.
Look, I brushed my teeth. That's whatever.
Yeah, or like, and I know a lot of people get kind of like, because you post the same song over and over and over again, but what they need to realize is that every time you post, it's probably hitting new people.
That's what,
And so it's like, I'm going to post the same song again and again and again, but also I put a lot of money into the song, and I'm trying to get it out to as many people as I can. So I just think like the main thing is consistency. And just kind of being on it every day. Like, oh, it's 1 p.m. I'm going to post right now, and just do it on all the platforms.
Yeah, I want to get off kind of like the social media term, but I did want to ask one more because I feel like a lot nowadays, it sounds bad, but people make songs because they know it's gonna blow up. It's not necessarily what's like as meaningful to them. Can you kind of like talk about that? Because like you see a lot of people, they want to do something that's got a catchy chorus or whatever, and you can do on a TikTok dance to it. It's like very weird nowadays.
No, it's hard, and I struggle with that as well because you always want to do something that like is gonna like hit a mass amount of people. And I have some songs that are like a lot more surface level. Like I have a song that's like, can he bait a hook? Can he change a tire? And then I have like one that's like Grit and Grace, which is like a little bit more like fast paced about like a strong woman and stuff. And like, while those songs might not be seen as like super, super, super meaningful, it's like those are the ones that are like catching the attention, and it's like I want to keep promoting them even though they're very
you have to.
And then if someone comments, like I get comments like, where are your meaningful songs? I'm like, I do have some. They're out. And these are their names, and
it's just finding a happy medium. And
it's finding a happy medium.
You also can't please everybody. Like that's the
thing. You can never please everybody, and you have to like be happy with like who you are and what you're posting. Like my plan is to never post something that's going to like damage my reputation. Like I don't want to, or anything that's really negative. Like I'm not trying to do that. And I realize that there are like little girls who like look up to me, and I'm like, I'm mindful of that, but I'm also like 26 years old, so it's kind of like finding that balance there too.
That's what I just said. I had to move the cans over. I was like, you gotta like keep your image, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You got to be mindful of like in what you're doing, like as an artist, like if you're in the spotlight, you have to be mindful of like the people who are like looking up to you. And so anyways, I have a lot of meaningful songs and then some that are more like surface level, and I'm working on a couple right now that I think are really fun. And I'm excited for them to come to the light.
So can you kind of talk about, you talked about your day job, what's your like songwriting process during the week, or like what's a day in and day out like week look for you?
Well, I do focus a lot on like my job and social media, but I try to have like a 1 or 2 co-writes a week just to kind of like get my mind going, and then also like writing songs too, like on my own, like in the night, you know, before I go to bed, sit down with my guitar and just kind of like
probably very therapeutic.
Trying to like channel my emotions and like write it down. And then like if I have a song that I'm like, I don't really know where to go with this, like I'll bring it to somebody and be like, where would you go with this? Like if you were listening, where would you want this to go? And I've done that a couple times. And then I usually, it's hard to say like what the process is because I feel like it starts a lot. It's different. Like sometimes I'll go off of like just a title. Like for Grit and Grace, I just had the title Grit and Grace. And then I was like, what am I going to write this about? And then for like Can He Bait or Till You Find One, which is my other song, I was thinking about how like you don't know what you're missing out on until you date a country boy. Like that's like, it is like the most like simple thing, the thought process there, but I was like, I really like this idea. Like dating country boy is so fun. So it kind of differs. Maybe I'll have like a melody that I like on guitar, and I'm like, I didn't want to write to this, or like hear a beat, and I'm like, I love that beat. I want to do something with that. So it's a little different.
You kind of like revisit, like, will you write something down and be like, oh, 3 or 4 days later, like revisit that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. And sometimes I'll like hate it.
Yeah. I always wonder because it's very interesting because everyone is very much different in that process.
Yeah. Yeah, but sometimes like I'll come back to it. I'm just like I look at it from like because you just have like a fresher pair of eyes or ears, I guess, and you're like, oh, I like this, but it's not quite where I want it to be, and so just kind of like I'm doing that right now with the song. Actually, like I'm coming back to it probably tonight and gonna like sit down and work on it.
Are you like working on trying to do like an album or like an EP or anything like that soon?
I think at this point I'm pretty much doing a lot like singles,
Yeah.
just because like budget
No,
wise,
that makes sense.
and just trying to like zero in on each new single for like a few months.
Yeah.
So like my plan to release one, I think in probably May,
Yeah.
maybe do one in like July, and then one for hunting season,
No,
of
for
course,
sure, yeah.
probably in like September,
Yeah.
August. So and it's a hunting season song.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I was wondering because like I was. Do you think? Well, since I was gonna ask if you were, do you think people place songs like because they know this one's gonna do well here? How do people kind of like
Yeah.
choose where they're?
Well, I think too, like mine's like the time of year.
Yeah.
Like if it's like one that's really fun, I'll probably
Yeah.
try to put it like in the spring and summertime. If it's more slower, I'll kind of put it like I released my song. I have a song Ghost Town. I released it around I think like October time. So I'm like that just works good there.
No, makes sense.
Father's Day, I did my my dad's song Next to Me. I post that on Father's Day. And I try to go off of like what's gonna work well like this time of year. What mood are people gonna feel?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna ask. So, you opened for what Kelsey Ballerini back then. I'm a huge fan of
Yeah,
hers.
I know.
Kind of talk about that experience. You opened for what Drake White too, and I forgot other people. But
Yeah.
what was that like?
Oh my
Crazy?
gosh. Well, okay, so in high school, I just really like some really cool things happened. One was I had a truck company, Sunset Trucks.
Okay.
Shout out Sunset Trucks.
Yeah.
Licensed my song, and so I had a song, I Want a Truck, which is it's out. Find it on all social media or all streaming platforms. It's and basically they listened to the song I Want a Truck. They liked the song, and they were like, we want to use this in our commercials.
Yeah.
So when I was it 16 or 17? It was 2015. They wanted I was in the commercials basically saying, and I actually had the opportunity to do that again last year. So I actually re-recorded the song.
Oh, that's cool.
Put it out again, and was in the commercials again.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And they're based in Washington State. So so that was really cool. Yeah. And from that, I got to sing at the Richard Sherman Celebrity Softball game.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was super cool. Yeah. This 2015 was a wild year for me. I think I was a junior in high school. And I also got the opportunity to open for Kelsey Ballerini.
Absurd.
It was so cool. It was when she had "Love Me Like You Mean It" on the radio, and it was just a really, really cool experience. And it's been so cool to see like how far that she's come.
Yeah, I know.
Like
it's insane.
It's insane.
Like, it's absurd.
I love observing it. And then Drake White, I had the opportunity to open for him, opening for a station in Seattle called The Wolf.
Okay.
And that was really cool. It was at the fairgrounds, but I can't remember what event it was, but that was really fun. And then was it this last summer or the summer before? It's hard to say. Yeah. I did Hop Country Music Fest, and I opened for like Craig Campbell.
Oh, that's cool.
And again, Drake White played that one too.
That's crazy.
So I know it's like it's interesting to see like the artists like do just like go and from when you were little and then watch them like rise. It's a super cool thing, and that was really cool. And so actually, it was 2 summers ago. Yeah. I swear. All the fun times like meshed together.
No, that's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. Like these last 2 days, I'm like, holy crap! It feels like one continuous day.
Yeah.
I couldn't even imagine being in this industry, and I feel like everything's like really just one.
Yeah.
But, so when you're going out there, how do you kind of manage? Because you gotta be like nervous when you're up with like you see a bunch of people out there, or is that something you've already kind of dealt with now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, for me, like the nerves are kind of always there.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if there's like a lot of people. Yeah. I think as long as I'm like in the spotlight, I'm nervous.
Yeah.
But there have been like a couple times where I'm like, oh, I totally like if I see a lot of family and friends, I'm like, oh, this is totally fine. Yeah. But for a lot of the concerts that I play, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Let's just take a sec and then just go out. And I have to remember like people, you're your worst critic.
Yeah.
And I just have to like be myself because like if I'm not myself, then I don't like people should like you for who you are.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like remember that and kind of let that go and like just start jamming out on the guitar and trying to
and then you kind of work your way in.
And work, and after the first song, you're like, oh, okay, that went well. Yeah. Okay, let's keep it going.
Do you kind of have like when you're playing like a show? Do you kind of have like, okay, these are the first 4 songs I'm gonna play, and then we'll see where the crowd's kind of at, or how do you?
Yeah, I'll usually like put together a set list, and then like, but it's funny though because I'll have like some sad songs in a row, and if people are really rowdy, I'll be like, nope, not gonna play those.
Yeah, we gotta switch. Yeah.
I'm like, not gonna play those right now.
Gotta do a little detour.
Yeah, exactly. So I do kind of like feed off the audience a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like funny because nowadays you'll hear artists complain about doing a 35-minute set when they're like super big, but you come here and people do 4 or 5 like
it is wild,
crazy sets. Can you? What has that kind of done for your career? I feel like going out there and playing long form shows has got to be.
Well, yeah. To be honest with you, I'm more of like a writers round player. Like I'll go and I'll set up on stage and play like 3 or 4 with the, how it's like one person and another person, and then you go around.
I just went to the first one.
Cool, where'd you see that one?
We were at Live
Oak.
Yeah.
Live Oak.
We went there a couple days ago, so that was cool.
Yes, I love that around there. And so I am more like kind of like original music there. And then if it's something where it's like a 1 hour, 2 hour show, I'll do that as well. They have this really cool writers round, Nashville Most Wanted. I love to play. Shout out Cody.
Yeah. That's cool.
And it's kind of by where I live in Hendersonville.
Okay, so that works out perfect.
Yeah, and it's like an hour, so I sit up on stage and like sometimes I'll play all originals because I'm like, oh, like I just want to I want to zero in on my originals tonight, or I'll play some originals, add some covers just so like people kind of know and we can kind of vibe together. So I haven't like the 4 or 5 hour shows are wild to me. The requests that people get, like I'm like. The way that they can do it, like off the top of there, I'm like, this is
like, how do you know all these songs? I'm like, this is crazy. Or even if like you're reading, like, still being able to hit all that is absurd to me.
No, it's wild, and like it's so funny. Like I'll be on Broadway sometimes, and I'll see someone I know, and they're like, Afton, get up here, and I'm like, oh my gosh,
that's cool.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. Like I think that's a cool thing about living in Nashville and knowing people is you just never know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, it's fair. You never know. I was like, we were doing an interview, and then we ended up. Yesterday, and then we got the recession sandwich at like Roberts. I don't know if you heard of that. It's wild. So Bryson took us. He's like, "You got to get the sandwich." It was a fried bologna sandwich, right? And then a moon pie, a Lay's potato chip, and then a Busch Light for $6. It was at Roberts. It was like cool. And then he's like, "I got a show after this." And then next thing we know, we came back and it was like 1:30 a.m. I was like, we got there like 10, and you just never know where it's going in this town.
Oh my gosh, where was he playing at?
He was playing at Hank Williams. Okay. That was cool. What's your favorite place you go to down here?
Oh my gosh, that's hard. I feel like I always hit like Honky Tonk Central.
That was the one place we hadn't gone to.
Yeah, well, I think that's the place that has like the out. They have like the.
They have like
the railings, the balconies, like that. I love like a good rooftop with like a good view. I love those. Like I love Miranda Lamb.
I gotta show you this.
Yeah.
So I got. I'll bring it over. So you know when Morgan threw the chair off. Right?
Oh yeah.
So they gave. I got the chair drink, and I was like,
chair.
Yeah, it was like it's called the chair, right? So they gave.
This is so funny.
Yes.
Yeah, so what was the drink though?
It was like.
Wait, did they like put the chair in the drink?
Yeah. Or? So they put like the straw was like in between this, and then it was like a lemonade. It was like $20. Like it was not worth that. But
$20?
It was absurd. I was like, can I keep the chair? And they were like, if you want. And I was like, well, for $20, I'm keeping the freaking chair.
Yeah, you get a souvenir with that.
Yeah, so.
That's hilarious.
But that was cool. It was busy.
Was it a good drink?
It was like a lemonade. It was not great. It was. I had I don't even know what the best drink. I had at Riley Green's, they gave me like a key lime drink. That was really good.
That
was like
sounds good. Key lime pie.
Yeah. I go. What do you think we need tonight? And then she's like, I'll make this. I'm like, sounds good enough for me. So,
perfect.
Contact. But so you probably go in every year, right, as an artist, and you have goals for yourself. Like, what kind of were the goals for you this year?
This year, I think it's hard not to just be like growing my fan base, you know, that's kind of what everyone, writing more with other people. I have like a few writers and I'm like, if I need help, like I'll text them, hey, like, do you have time to meet up and write, do even a Zoom. But I'm wanting to work with more people and learn how they write in their process. And I get so inspired by that. And so I actually have a write tomorrow. And then I actually have a write with Cliff in April. That's funny.
That's cool.
You know, yeah.
Such a small world.
I know.
I did a video with him like 2 or 3 years ago when he was just playing like little things in like games, like, you know, Florida, because that's where he's from.
Yeah.
I don't know why I saw him on Country Central posted one of his videos, and then he came on. It was one of the wildest ones. Yeah. That was like one of my first hardest interviews ever. So
that's wild.
Such a small world. Of
yeah, I know. So there's like writing more. I had songs because for me, I have to think like 10 steps ahead because what I do every year is I go back home to Washington State and I play shows in the summertime. So I'm like, I can't record when I'm back home for the summer. So I need to record before I go home for the summer. So I have like a couple songs released in the summer.
No,
and even in the fall, I'm like, okay, when I get back like, what am I gonna the song that I want to release during like hunting season? I'm probably not gonna be here in time to record it. So I'm like, I need to record it before I go home. So I'm hoping to like get those all like squared away in May.
How long does it take to like record a song?
Not very. I mean, usually what it is like I'll send the song in with I'm playing guitar, maybe like singing to a beat or something to the producer, and they'll be like, okay, like I worked on a track, send it to me, I'll listen to it. That sounds great. I go in, record vocals. They're like, okay, sounds great, and then it takes a little bit. They mix and master whatever, and then it's done.
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then you just like. I always think it's so cool, like the cover arts and stuff of that. Do you choose that, or does like whoever's releasing it?
The cover art?
Yeah.
I usually have like a photo shoot specifically for like I actually have for my next song coming out, I've like rented out this like bar.
Okay.
And there's other like things to use, like it's a set. And I'm just gonna like zero in on that song and try to get a bunch of content for the song. And then also like if I have time, do some for other songs too, because like I like to just get like batch content, you know, so I don't have to like every day I just like batch it up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Final few questions. I don't want to take too much of your time. So when you think of like Seattle, you like I know that's not all Washington. You don't think of country. Can you kind of talk about like the country vibe out in Washington?
Yes, I know. I get that all the time. I get like, you're from Seattle. I'm like, first of all,
no.
First of all, I'm not from Seattle. I'm from Seabeck, Washington, which is about like an hour and a half from Seattle. So what you do, this is just a breakdown for people that aren't from Washington, is Seabeck. So you take a ferry for an hour across the Puget Sound, and then you would drive 30 minutes to get to where I am from.
Really?
Which is a lot different from Seattle. Or if you went the Tacoma route, you could drive 45 minutes over the Tacoma Narrows Bridge and be where I'm from.
Really? Yeah. That's wild.
Yeah. So you can either go by ferry or drive.
Yeah, I've always wanted to go out to Washington. I want to go to like Vancouver if I get a passport. I still have a passport. I gotta get one. So I'm like, I gotta go to Washington. I want to go to like Vancouver. So I'm like, if I go out that far.
I've actually never been to Canada, even though it's like right there.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a wild thing.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. I had a bunch of people from high school go, and they were like 19 because that was like the drinking age. I was like, well, shoot. I should have went.
Yeah.
But I will say like Washington State has a huge country music scene. Like we have this huge festival every year. It's called Watershed.
Yeah.
Love it. I've camped there probably 5 years maybe. Every time at the end, I like am like I had like really severe bronchitis. Is that when your throat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I could not talk for days after that festival
really?
just because I like every day there's just amazing people like Chris Stapleton. I mean,
that's awesome.
It's an all day like party. Yeah. You go to the river, you're like at the river hanging out, and then you're like, then you go and you get ready for the concert and you walk like a mile from the campground to you have to be like just a strong person
to handle that. It's a gauntlet.
Well, and then after the concert, you're like, oh gosh, like I've been drinking beer and everything, and then you're like, we're gonna go and we're gonna, go play some beer pong at this campsite, and then walk a mile back to
like day 3, I'd be cooked.
Yeah,
I'll be fighting.
And you're like, and you're hot because it's like a million degrees in the summertime. It's like 100. It's like so you're sunburned.
Warm Busch Light.
Yeah, you're probably dehydrated. Yeah, but it's so fun. It's so worth it. Yeah. Anyways, so there's like Watershed. And Eastern Washington, again, is like much. Like, I went to college in Eastern Washington, in Ellensburg, which is where Central Washington University is. And it's a lot. It's interesting. Like, if you go to Washington, it's like the west side is really, like, evergreen trees, water, very wet. The east side is, like, dry, like, cool, like the gorge is where the watershed is. And it's just, like, cool, like, canyon, like, water. It's amazing, like, how diverse
the whole
state is. Yeah, but I know a lot of people that love country music there, and people are like, oh, Washington, like there's not a country music scene. There is a country music scene.
Yeah.
We love country music.
Just out there, people don't really think about it as much.
Yeah, because everyone wants to zero in on the city.
Yeah.
I'm like, but the city is not like I love Seattle for like a day of going to Pike's Place and like maybe going to like a nice hotel for like a dinner and then like going out. But I'm like, after like a day or two, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to get back to
your
to the wilderness and just kind of like decompress and
No, I'm the same way. So last two questions. So this one, we have a lot of like, I was saying like middle school, high school people that watch this. You started your career, in that middle school range. What's like one piece of advice you give to like an artist trying to build a career or do this?
Yeah, my biggest piece of advice would be just do it. Like I remember before I started posting, I didn't want to really post.
Yeah.
Like when TikTok was starting in 2020, I was a senior in college. And I was seeing everyone doing like such amazing things. I was like, this will never ever happen for me. Like this will never happen for me. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, why not? Why not me? Yeah. I totally kind of switched up my mind,
Yeah, it's like content, like too. It's like you just gotta throw a bunch of like darts at the board, hope they stick.
Exactly.
It's really you never know what's gonna work.
Exactly. So like, just do it, and like, you're gonna. Everyone starts from ground zero. The worst thing that can happen is you end up back right where you are.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there's nothing to lose. It's not like it's gonna get worse because you did that.
Well, right. Yeah. I mean, I guess it could.
It could, but if you're thinking
but if you're being authentic, if you're being authentic and genuine, and you're like being a good person, and you're posting things that you are proud of, and like that's what really matters, and people are gonna see. And if you're relatable, and like people see, like she's just a person, and she's trying to follow her dream, like, and there are going to be people that are going to come around and they're going to try to squash your dreams.
Because they do. They hate success. They hate to see somebody doing what they want to do because they're not doing what they want to do, and they're just pissed off, about that.
Exactly. And what you have to do is just like, you know what? No, I'm not. No. I mean, people throw rocks at things that shine. Don't you worry your pretty little mind. I don't know. Taylor Swift. Anyways. But my biggest piece of advice would be just do it. And you'll be surprised by like what can happen, and be a kind, like genuine person when you go out and you're talking to people and you're meeting people, and just like like the same thing with building relationships too. Like in Nashville, it's like I go out and I'm like, I want to have fun, and I want to meet new people, but I'm not ever like, that's more of like where I go when I go out. That's more of my standpoint. I'm not like, oh, I need to like meet this person. I need to like network super hard and like blah, 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 blah. I'm like,
you're not gonna be successful in this if you do like people. I feel like can sense like fakeness very well.
Right. No, exactly. I'm like, I want to be friends with people that I genuinely connect with, and if I genuinely connect with somebody that's like, might know this person, knows this person, or wants to write or whatever, it's like cool. And you kind of just already like established kind of that relationship.
Yeah, because I it's actually a question from just myself because so like I'm about to move out of my lease is done in May, and I could go anywhere to like do media. That's like my passion. You came to a city, you're from Washington. It probably was very hard. I'm always worried about like meeting people there and like just being like going there. What was your kind of like transition like?
Oh gosh, yeah. Well, to be honest, so I moved here in September of 2020.
Yeah.
I didn't actually go out and it was like COVID, so it was a little weird. Yeah. I remember like I was at the bar and I stood up to like bust a move, and the bouncer was like, "You need to sit down. Like you're not allowed to stand up in the bar." No,
that's absurd.
And it was funny because like there's people like rocking out on stage, and they're like just rocking out, and I can't move at all. Like I was just like, I guess I can like do this in my seat. Yeah, like, good job. But yeah, so it was kind of weird for a little bit, and then finally when I started. Like one of the first places that I went in town was Alley Taps.
Okay.
And that's in like Printer's Alley.
I've heard of Printer's Alley. Mike's like, we gotta go. He wants us to go out again tonight, so we'll see.
Oh, there you go.
So Midtown. We'll see. Yeah.
Midtown. I think I might. I don't know. I'm debating that. I texted my group chat like, oh, you want to go out? It's Wednesday. Yeah. Come on. But when I started going out and I started meeting people, I think one thing that really helped me was going to writers' rounds because. And not even like, even if I wasn't playing, just to go and to meet people, because people there want to make friends and they want people to write with and whatever. But like for you, I just feel like it would be so easy because you already have friends that live here, and then you go out and you're like, hey,
blah, blah, blah,
yeah, and then you just connect, and then you're like, oh, let's kind of exchange like contact info, and then you're like, are you gonna go out tonight?
Yeah.
And it's just kind of like that.
Yeah.
But then again, I do like if you're someone that also like values your alone time, that would be cool too. Because I feel like you're a very busy person too.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, I need to like.
Yeah, I've been in my house in Ohio 4 days in the last 40 days.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, so I went into my house because I was there for like a day and a half. We went out in Columbus once. I didn't even count that one day. I was like, I forgot what my place looked like. I was like, what is my, like, is it clean? I had no idea. I was like, it was the wildest thing. But
that is wild.
Yeah. Last question we always finish off with. So when your career is over down the line, how do you want to be remembered? It's a tough one.
Oh. I want to be remembered as somebody that cares. Somebody that like genuinely cares about her people and her fan base, and somebody that like listens but also is somebody that's resilient and owns who she is, and at the end of the day she's like, you might not vibe with me, but I'm me, and that's all that matters.
It's like what is it? God, I don't know. I know the saying, but you know what I mean. But yeah. I respect that a lot. It was funny because the reason we always someone asked me that, like, I was playing states like my sophomore year, and I was like, he was like 14 or 15. Somebody asked me after like I won a match, and I was like I'm like, what? I'm like in high school. Like, I'm like also like I had no college offers. I was like not going pro at this, and it was like the weirdest question. But now I was like, actually,
no. Do you know what you said?
I said like the most, like, I literally said like the dumbest quote. I think the quote was like something, I was like, I'm just like a team player, always make some BS answer. Cause I was like, it was my first interview. The guy came over, and then the next thing I know, it's in the Columbus Dispatch, like a huge newspaper, and I was like, I had no idea who this guy was. And it was wild.
Well, it's a big question. It's kind of like, how do you want to be remembered, like when you're gone?
Yeah, it's like it's like, okay, when I'm like my career is over, I'm like, well, I don't even know when that would be, or like.
Well, yeah, but there's a quote that I read that's like, people don't remember what you did or something, but they will remember how you made them feel.
Yeah, that's what matters more.
Yeah, and I'm like, I would like it if people like knew that I cared about them, and like was not something that's. I'm a talker, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And I'm like, sometimes I need to sit back and listen.
Yeah.
Sit back and listen.
No, I would always I would be my always thing. I was like, I had trouble like interrupting a lot, like, because I would listen to them, but like the thing is, my brain would think something that they're saying, but I'm like, okay, I need to let them like finish their point. That was like what I had to work on a lot.
Yeah.
With these interviews and stuff, and it's helped me like a lot connect with people, because that's why I love doing this. Is like I meet like such a wide range of people, and just hearing like the story and just like chatting. I've never had questions. I've always just I do a little research if I need, because like I was talking the other day with I was telling Bryson yesterday. I was like, some days we'll interview people and I'll be like, how was blah 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 blah, and they give like a 3-word answer. So I'm like, okay, I really do need to sometimes rely on research. So that's why. Because I do. It's like anything with your show. So you have questions you want to ask if you really need to, but you really hope. I don't want to have to dive into this, but
yeah. But yeah, and then the other thing is like resilience, and like I want people to be like, she might be a little cringy sometimes, but like that's how I am. That's just my authenticity coming out. Like when I'm out, you might see me busting a weird dance move.
Yeah.
I don't I just felt it in the moment. What do you want?
My buddies always call me a cornball, so I was like, that was my thing. I was always out there, doing whatever. I'll show you one funny thing after this, but appreciate you doing this.
Yeah.